How much was your first deal?
My first deal, what was it? Like $5,000.
And how'd you feel about it when you closed it?
I think it was cool, but it was already spent.
For sure. But how excited were you about that $5,000?
Oh, it was cool, bro. I mean, so my first deal on my own was like $5,000, and then like I did deals with, I think my first deal with Alan.
But we don't count that because that's different, like profit share in a way.
Right, it's like a different.
You know what I mean? But your first deal individually with your own company, $5,000. It was already spent, but it felt good because you were probably able to pay off a bunch of shit at once.
Yeah, and like so, like when we talked about like, bro, you need to negotiate harder and sell harder when you're dispoing and acquiring deals, because like those thousands of dollars really add up over time, right?
100%.
So like I'm just thinking like, okay, grand scheme, we need to make as much money as possible now. We do have competition.
Mm-hmm.
I have 10 people on the phones for me right now. Like I just got a text like, hey, these people are on the phone. This is the markets they're calling. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing that with 10 people, bro, I've probably cold called the Driving for Dollars list anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like we need to get to it now.
Probably.
It's that competitive
probably.
Though, and like to not act
I
in
do
a sense
believe
of urgency.
Yeah.
You're doing yourself a disservice.
I do believe that, there's something to be said for building a list, Driving for Dollars. You said you probably reached them already. A lot of these homes probably don't even pop up on some of the lists that we're calling for, unless you just pull the whole county or the whole city, and you're calling the whole city.
I have.
You know what I mean? But
I have the whole county.
Yeah, okay. You could have called the wrong day. You know what I mean? Like it's something to be said.
I'm not saying it's a bad marketing method, but if you're going to use it,
it's not marketing.
It's not marketing.
It's something to be said about cold callers calling a list, waiting, hoping, not hoping, but going to get a lead, compared to somebody calling a known distressed list. That conversation, my conversation, it shouldn't be different, but it is.
No, it's different.
When I'm calling a Driving for Dollars list compared to when I'm calling a high equity list, like I'm so much more intentional on that Driving for Dollars list at listening for BS, because they can tell me, oh, not interested on the equity list. We kind of knew that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Because we're kind of casting a wide net. On the Driving for Dollars list, they tell me they're not interested. I'm going to probably dig a little bit more because I know your shit's fucked up. So there should be some type of interest.
I mean, it should give you some type of, it's like calling pre-foreclosure. Like, right, I'm not saying it's not a good niche list. Like, my head goes to a completely different place of efficiency and like fucking.
Because you've grown to that level. You did.
Yeah, and I mean,
there's no fucking debate about that. You did. You grew to that level.
I'm just trying to think of like when it switched.
You'll know when you know. You know when people's like, oh, how do you know when you need to hire your cold caller? How do you know when you need to get an acquisitions manager? Well, we can't tell you that.
I mean, for the cold caller, the answer is now.
We didn't say that a few years ago. You get what I'm saying? Like, shit's different. You grow
bro,
and you learn.
Getting, bro. Like I just didn't make any money, and I kept putting it back into marketing. Like I was like, well, I need to multiply my efforts. That's the way I think, right? I just want to duplicate more eyeballs and getting out more feelers to get more deals
through experience.
No, well, and I guess like so with Alan, like, but as soon as I was with Alan's like, no, bro, we're fucking paying money, we're dropping money, and we're actually marketing. So that was a really, really good segue for me. For like now I'm on my own. I'm donating plasma. All of that money is going back into marketing to text message. Like all of it. Like at the very beginning, like, okay, get it back into it. All right, we're going to pull lists. Like as soon as I got it, I had a chick texting and I was cold calling. Because that was like the most cost efficient thing I could do. But like, it was like, all right, how can I multiply my efforts immediately? Because that is the only thing that's really going to get you some momentum.
Yeah. That thought process is what I'm saying is more of a mature thought process of being able to duplicate that and actually knowing how to go about that. Because I know one of the things before, even for me, was just like, okay, I need to hire someone, but what exactly do I need them to do? You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes you only know that stuff by going through it and understanding where you're failing. So,
and that's why you need a coach. And that's why we're trying to make this content too, though, because like people don't fucking talk about this shit.
Like the growing pains?
Well, I mean, just like really, really stupid stuff. They say just how to get your first deal is like generally the content. And then everybody, and then it goes into coaching, right? It's like there is no like semi in between. Like, yeah, like we both offer.
You kind of coach them, but at the same time,
yeah, like you can listen to this podcast. Yeah. And I promise you, like you'll get
value. Everyone talks about giving value. Like that's what content is. Content is giving people free value, and giving them free game on. It's low key coaching.
Yeah, I mean, because like that's
and
valuable.
when you start wanting more of my time is when it turns into coaching. If you want your handheld at that point.
Exactly. But like me saying, go do this, this, and this, that's a lot of value that people fucking pay me for anyways.
Yeah.
Right? But like that is something that if you listen to this and you implement it immediately, I promise you'll be better off.
Yeah.
You may not be making as much money at the beginning, but like cool, generally whenever I'm starting a business, everybody makes more money than I do for like a year and some change.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really even make any money.
Yeah.
And then once the business stabilizes and it's good, okay, now I can start making my money.
Yeah.
But then even now, like when we hire on sales reps, your sales reps will probably make more money than you for a while too. Like as you start getting into like real business, I don't know, multiply your efforts as soon as possible. Just with how hyper competitive the market is right now, you just need to be in front of as many bodies as you humanly can.